Hello and welcome back to Full Time Freedom Podcast. I went to the theater on the weekend and I learned a really powerful lesson about defining your personal style. So, this realization took me to the Princess Theatre in Melbourne via Pinterest and a little examination on societal norms and the roles we play as women, and really what we're set up to expect in life and how we present ourselves. So, all of that made me realize that you have to intentionally build your style. You have to define for yourself who it is that you want to be and who you want to project to the world around you. This not only supports your goals, but it helps you manifest creating yourself into the dream woman that you want to be. So, we're going to talk about that today. But first, intro. I'm Melissa Hussong. I'm a coach, podcaster, and general women's empowerer. I share my story, interviews with badass women business owners, and tips to help women like you find more freedom in your life. That is what this podcast is all about. It's finding freedom, creating more freedom of yourself, your time, who you are, everything that freedom means to you. We're creating more of that through this podcast. And to that end, I'm starting a new segment. I'm calling it What's Giving Me Freedom This Week. These are going to be very real, practical things that I'm doing in my everyday life to create more freedom. Short term in this moment, but also super long term. And today I'm going to be talking about a long term thing that's giving me freedom. I have been going on a journey. Okay. So, women, we go through a lot of shit in our lives. Okay. Our hormones take a lot of things. I was talking to a friend recently and she was like, women go through so much shit. First of all, we go through puberty and we get our menstrual cycle. Second of all, you're just living your fucking life and things are hard. And then you choose to have children or you choose not to. And then you go through menopause and your hormones change all over again. And I just thought, that's so fucking real. And the more I thought about it, the angrier I got. So I was going down a very deep dive of bone density for women, okay? And the reason I've been talking about this is because I found out that breastfeeding depletes a mother's mineral stores in her body. I was so shocked when I found this out. I started telling all my friends, and they were like, yeah, Mel, obviously. But for those who don't know, if you choose to breastfeed, like even just having a child, creating a baby in your womb takes a lot out of your body and depletes your body. Basically, they get all the good, yummy stuff, and then you're kind of left making up for, all the things that were that your body gave in that process. Um, and okay, so our bones take a hit. If you breastfeed when you're having a child, all of that takes a hit. And then again, in menopause, you lose a lot of bone density because your hormones and just like general mineral depletion throughout our lives up until that point. So I was talking to a lot of friends about this, and also I really fucked up my wrist back in February. I haven't been able to ride my motorcycle since because I can't roll my wrist back further than that. So I'm about a 45-degree angle versus a 90-degree angle. And just is thinking about I'm just thinking about bones, okay? I would love to be like an old lady just surrounded by bones one day. I think that would be so fun. Just like decorative bones on the wall and things. Sounds weird, but I think that would be really cool. All right, amidst this deep dive of bone density and reflecting on how much our bones just go through it in the course of a woman's life. And to tie this back to freedom, it means that you might be more prone to breaking a bone. You might actually um like just have your wellness jeopardized if we are not doing anything about this long-term health. So creating these changes, doing these tiny little tweaks that I'm going to tell you about in a second, that's so easy to implement in your diet, will give you better bone density, better mineral stores for the course of your life that's going to increase your longevity in the long term. And that's how I'm feeling about this. It's giving me freedom. Okay. And the thing that I'm getting from this is apricots. Okay, I'm going to tell you why apricots. Apricot juice, or just straight up eating apricots fresh, or just dry. I'm eating them dried at the moment. That's how I'm doing. Okay, so amidst this deep dive, I met an elder, wise citizen who recommended to me apricot juice, which she swears has strengthened her bones and meant that if she fell or injured herself, that she was able to recover from that because she didn't break any bones. So what I took away from that is apricots equals better bones, and that's what I'm doing. So immediately I became obsessed with consuming apricots because that's what I do. I just go full throttle into this kind of thing. And also because I trust her, and she's seen some stuff, she's wise, she has many years on top of me that I'm trusting her experience. So I did a little research. Apricots, turns out, are super rich in minerals for bone density. I'm going to tell you about some of them. Calcium, super high in calcium, vitamin A, vitamin K, and boron as well. That was something that came up in a lot of my research. I encourage you to do your own research on this and convince yourself. Do not take my word for it. I'm just sharing something that I am loving. Apricots are jam-packed of this bone-loving minerals, so you can consume apricots as a juice. I personally have been doing dried apricots because apricot juice is not stocked at my regular grocery store. And if I have to go to another store on my grocery run, I consider that like limiting my freedom because I want to do that as quick as possible. So I'm not making an extra run for the apricot juice, but I'm consuming dried apricots after meals. So I'll do 1 to 2 after a meal. So like I have breakfast, do an apricot, have lunch apricot, dinner apricot. So it'll be a bit of a dessert that I kind of do. I eat it straight afterwards. So I'm not like making this a ceremony or like a special ritual. I'm just like straight up eat the meal and then go eat the dried fruit. Okay. So we go through a lot in our lifetimes, and I think our bones just deserve a little bit of love. It's so literally so easy to do. I think maybe most of you would even have apricots just chilling in the pantry. It's something that like is just a random thing a lot of us have. It's very affordable. It's like a low barrier to entry in terms of like you just go and do it. You don't need to jump through a ton of hoops. It's so low low hanging fruit to add into your diet. I've been doing it for probably a couple of months now. That's the other thing with this stuff that I'm bringing you in this segment. What's giving me freedom this week? These are tried and tested things that I've been doing for at least a month. Okay, 28 days means it's a habit. So I'm not just trying something once or twice and then sharing it. This is stuff that I'm like actually really doing. If you came and followed me around all day, you'd be seeing me eat apricots 3 times a day. Low effort way to show your bones that you care. And I hope that you will start consuming some apricots. Do your research. Don't overdo it. Things in moderation. But I'm super stoked to be giving my bones the love they deserve. My poor bones. Okay. What else did I want to talk about? Okay. The other thing that I'm really feeling this week. So I checked in. Lately I've been talking about the stock market, making money moves. What does it mean for women to talk more openly about money, making money unapologetically? And I had mentioned that go back to last episode for a background. So I checked on my stocks. So I had some dividends sitting in an account that I wanted to invest, and I'm plugging onto Fidelity. I got some notifications on my phone. I downloaded Yahoo Finance so I could get updates on stock market happenings. And I saw that some shit happened overnight and jumped on. The stock that I was watching, that I've been keeping my eye on, had gone down like maybe 1.5% overnight in Australia because the US stocks there's a time lag. So I'm waking up, the stocks have gone down, and I'm like, whoa, that was my trigger price. So going on Fidelity, I actually realized this is a massive hack. I love creating systems. I love fucking making my life easier, because I thought it was really exhausting checking shit, checking stock prices, doing all this annoying things. I just wanted to decide, like, this is the amount I'm willing to pay. I was able to go into Fidelity and set up a transaction and basically kind of bid on these stocks at the certain price that I wanted. So you put in a target price. I actually kind of had in my head what I was willing to pay, and then I like lowballed it another dollar or two, because I was like, I don't want to pay what I'm willing to pay. I want to get a deal. So I put in a transaction, an order. They call it an order on Fidelity for the price I wanted to pay. And then you can create it so it's good until cancelled. So essentially, that price that you're floating out to the market is what you're going to pay when the stock gets to that amount. And demand, my target price, equals the supply of that stock, which, the market is going to tell me the supply of the stock. When supply equals demand, boom, you have a deal, and then it triggers in the system, and then my money buys stocks. Genius. This is how men have been doing it, people. You don't actually have to carry the mental load of figuring out what's the price today, what happened, blah, 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 blah. You just go, yep, based on my research, this is the price I'm going to pay. And then I want to get a deal, put in an order, and then it's done. You just rest and go to sleep. And then I look forward to the day where I wake up and the order is triggered, the transaction is done, the deal is made, and I have like 8 new stocks. And that fuck is freedom, man. Money helps you get freedom. I've talked about money doesn't equal freedom. Money helps you achieve freedom. Money is a tool. And I've been having fun just playing with that and learning new things, and also creating the freedom from lifting that mental load, like lifting the mental load in every way we can. Using systems is a phenomenal way to do that. Okay, the other thing happening this week that I'm loving, that I think is going to feed into my whole story about going to the theater on Saturday. Okay, we are this close to making a deal on our house. Okay, we snagged a house. We're getting it done. Okay, I'm so excited. I've actually planned a whole episode of how I manifested this house. The story is fucking crazy. How we got this house in the first place, and then all the other like little things that the universe has sprinkled in to be like, and this and this and this and this, to make it better and better and better. It's like an amazing deal of a house. It's an amazing house. The situation is great. It's so fun. So TBD, that's in the process. I can't wait to tell you about it. All right, that's really the update of the week. I wanted to talk about, I went to the theater on the weekend. I saw the Book of Mormon, and it was fun. I love going to the theater. I love getting dressed up and supporting the arts and doing something new that you wouldn't. I mean, it's not new for me. I don't do it all the time. There's not like a ton of opportunity to do this, but I'm doing it. I'm making more of a conscious effort to go out and enjoy the arts in person, and be in community with like your loved ones. If you go with loved ones, if you go with friends, family, everything, it's fun. Okay, so for this, I was like, we're going to the theater. I'm dressing up. I want to be cute. I want to have a bit of an edge. So the outfit that I decided to wear, I had some like amazing wide leg, high waisted cargo pants, kind of in like a dark, like a caramel color, like almost a mustard, but not quite. And then I had these beautiful burgundy pointed kitten heels on. What else did I have? I had a black belt, a navy, beautiful merino sweater, and then another camel sort of colored like swing jacket. So feeling very much in the vibe. I had one of my favorite purses, and it was fun. I loved it. I love getting dressed up for the theater. And I felt so badass. You're kind of walking down the streets of Melbourne, the show's over, you've had dinner at Chinatown, and you're just like feeling it, loving the vibe, so happy with your outfit. So feeling so confident because you feel happy with what you're wearing, and that really projects. So I thought that's really cool. Like, I want to bring more of that vibe into my everyday. And I thought, well, what is the vibe I want to wear? As a mum, I've gotten stuck into like a very routine outfit, which is great because I do love having the routine of this is what I wear. I don't have to think about it. I wake up, I put it on. I know I love it. I know it looks good, which also gives you freedom because you're reducing the mental load of the day-to-day things that we have to do, that we spend way more time thinking about than men, also equals less freedom if we're doing more shit than men. So more freedom equals stop thinking about that stuff and let's put in systems to make it easier. And I felt really good in that outfit. So I thought, how do I do more of this? I love like the motorcycle vibes. I'm always rocking a Harley Davidson t-shirt, but I also want to have like a slick business vibe about it. And I was like, light bulb, bing, off duty CEO is the vibe I'm going for, slash motorcycle vibes. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. I have so many blazers. I definitely rock a blazer, love a blazer, but what does off duty CEO look like without a masculine silhouette? Without a blazer, like what does that look like? So I'm like, where do you go for outfit inspo? Pinterest. Pop up Pinterest, type in off duty CEO into the Pinterest last night, and let me tell you, crickets. Let me tell you, crickets. I think there were maybe two clicky buttons or pictures on Pinterest that were like CEO related outfits. But I was like, no, I don't want CEO vibes. I can't be rocking like head to toe tailoring and heels picking my kids up from kindergarten. I could, and I actually do love that for everyone who wants to do that, but I thought I don't want to be doing that all the time. I want to be like casual about it. Okay, so off-duty CEO in Pinterest gets like close to zero results. What pops up on my feed is off-duty model. And so I'm scrolling, off-duty model, off-duty model. I'm like, that's cool. They look super hot, but I'm not going for off-duty model. I want to be like business vibes, but cash. Okay, so this really brought me to the thing of like, oh, I saw two options. I thought, okay, so people like aren't typing in off-duty CEO. And then I thought, actually, no, people aren't interested in off-duty CEO. And then I thought, holy shit, there aren't many women CEOs in the world. And we just don't have like a literal role model of like off-duty CEO vibes that people are trying to replicate, unless you think of very specifically someone like Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen. Maybe you're thinking Victoria Beckham. Maybe you're thinking Bobby Brown, who's quite iconic in her outfits. But unless you think of specifics like that, you're not actually having like holistically a CEO vibe in your head of okay, what does a female CEO look like? But you go, oh, male CEO, yes, tailored suit, navy suit, tie, white shirt, nice shoe. Like you have the whole vibe in your mind. So this really highlighted for me the societal norms that we have of women versus men, and that we're still not actually expecting women to be in these roles. And it's not our fault. It's not anyone specifically's fault. I think it is really how we grow up, what we see in the culture, but it doesn't always have to be that way. And if you don't see something in the current culture or wherever you are, it doesn't mean it's never going to exist. I think that's actually quite hopeful because it's showing like a gap in the market essentially that you can fill. And if you've identified it, then you're probably that person to create that. So this gave me the lesson of like, you need to find your own inspo. And even beyond that, you need to be your own inspo. You need to be and create what it is that you want to be. And this gets back to like a core question of identity in how we present ourselves to the world. And when you think of identity, you might be like, well, yeah, obviously, Mel, like I'm, 35 and I live in Minneapolis and I ride motorcycles, I work as a barista. Okay, so those might be like pieces of your identity, or you might be saying, yes, mom, yes, Mel, I'm a stay at home mother. Those pieces of identity, yes, because we are those things or we've been those things in the past, doesn't mean you can't expand upon that. Okay, so yes, you are a mother, but like you're also an educator, you're a nurturer, you're probably a nurse. We're so many things wrapped up into this one package of what we will tell the world that we are. And if you want more things in your life, if you want to be more, if you have dreams, and if you're listening to this, I am gonna guess, I'm gonna, just ha- ha- have a hypothesis that you want more things in your life, you have big dreams that you want to create and you want to achieve, then we have to work on expanding who you are and who you see yourself to be. Okay, so this came up for me massive when I started riding motorcycles. I was like so attracted to riding motorcycles, but literally every time I wanted to do it, I was just like so scared. Fear would overcome me. I would get just absolutely paralyzed of like, I can't do that. That's not who I am. That was literally like the refrain I had in my head was, no, Mel, that's not who you are. It didn't help that I had other people in my world at the time telling me like, oh, Mel, you don't ride motorcycles. What are you talking about? But what really helped me at that time was like, okay, I don't ride motorcycles right now. Eventually, I would like to ride motorcycles. But what really helped me was changing the identity that I was projecting. So I would put on a Harley Davidson t-shirt and feel really different. I would put on, these big leather boots that were kind of like motorcycle boots and I would feel really different. And I thought it just warmed me up a little bit by little bit to the idea that I could be that person. And by kind of cosplaying with these different pieces of style that I saw in the motorcycle industry, that I could actually get a little bit closer and then a little bit closer and then a little bit closer. And then guess what? I've been riding motorcycles for 5 years. So I guess it worked. And it gave me freedom because it let me see beyond who I had been in the past, that I didn't have to continue to be that 2018 version of myself. Like in 2019, I started writing and then I was like, oh, fuck. Like, what do you mean I can be someone else? What do you mean I can unlock these pieces of me that I've never explored before and have all of these, create an amazing life? New friends come into my life, new experiences. I'm traveling more. I'm doing new things. I'm physically proving to myself that I can do other things like ride a motorcycle, like control a really big, fast engine. And that's one way to do this, is figuring out what clothing the dream version of you wants to be. So I've done this with clients before. If you're sitting there thinking, well, what the fuck does that mean to me, Mel? Like, how am I going to expand my identity? Okay, well, just like close your eyes for a second and be like, no limits. Money isn't an issue. Like, what would you want to do with your life? No limits. Okay. And anything you think of, you achieve. Just like, boom, close your eyes. What do you think? Okay. You want to be like an amazing CEO. Maybe you want to be a full time mother. Maybe you want to be someone who cares for people. Okay. Like, close your eyes, think about it. Maybe you want to ride across the world on a motorcycle. Okay. And now let's think about, what does that person look like? If you close your eyes, do you get an image of that person in your mind? Okay, what do they look like? If it's, a badass CEO, like, what are you wearing that you can imagine a CEO would in that industry would want to wear right now. And really paint the picture, get super clear. Like, what is your dream person? What does the dream version of you look like? Like, what's your hair like? Okay. What color is your hair? What haircut do you have? What shoes are you wearing? What do you have? Fresh nails? Do you have bare nails? Are they painted? Okay, what's your jewelry look like? Are you wearing boots? Are you wearing flip-flops? Are you wearing heels? Are you standing on a podium? Are you speaking from a stage? Are you sitting at the beach with your feet in the sand on the edge of the water, feeling the water lap at your toes? Get super crystal clear on what this looks like for you. And this can even be like an amazing image to just kind of burn into your brain, into your subconscious, and come back to anytime you just kind of need a little bit of a hit of like, okay, I'm just not feeling it today. How can I really plug into my dreams? How can I really plug into who I want to be right now? And call up this image of that dream version of yourself and step into her. And the really cool thing about this is you don't have to wait until that manifests in your reality, which it will, but you can bring pieces of that vibration into what you're doing right now. So, okay, maybe it's you want to be on a beach, chilling, making passive income while you're hanging out with your babies on the beach, toes in the water. Okay, what does that look like? Maybe you can go visit the beach more. Maybe you can bring a sandpit to the house, like what we can bring pieces of that. Is it like figuring out what kind of swimsuit are you going to wear for the summer? If you want to be a CEO, then okay, well, like, do you wear tailored pieces of clothing? Like, what does a CEO, do they have nice purses? Do they have certain types of jewelry that they typically wear? Like, do you feel more of a CEO if you're wearing like a lip color? These are all things that we can bring into our reality right now to start to connect to that vibration of what we want to achieve, that dream version of ourselves that we're manifesting into. And this reminds me of something this week. I've been doing a lot more of this since I went to the theater and had this huge epiphany of creating and being your own inspiration, creating the version of you that you want to be and projecting that to the world. I have been dressing, just like a bit more polished, okay? And this really came to affect my life this week because as we're really getting close to closing the deal on this house, I've had to be on the phone a lot with our team and our lawyer and being like, okay, this is what we want in the contract. This is what we don't want. This is what, is a deal breaker. Having all these conversations and even talking to the agent and kind of going through the specifics of what we wanted initially out of this deal. I wasn't wearing sweats in these conversations, okay? I showed up to these conversations in outfits that made me feel comfortable, that kind of projected a confidence that I was going for, but also had like this kind of CEO energy, badass CEO energy that I'm going for. And I was able to show up to these conversations and not second guess and not doubt. I was just like, no, this is the condition we want. This is the price that we'll pay. This is what I want in the contract. No, revise the contract. You didn't put it in correctly. Do it again. Okay, tell me what this means. These are all things that I just was able to pull up and just go boom, 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 because I felt good, because I believe I was in that vibration of doing these fucking deals. And I'm like, yeah, as a CEO in the future, well, I'm a CEO of the podcast and my own business, but like, as moving towards that goal that we want, it's like you can show up in that confidence, in that energy now, even if you don't feel that you're like 100% at that ideal yet. And that was just one example where I was like, you know what? I'm actually glad that I put this on today because I'm in my CEO energy. I'm in the vibe and it's creating something and getting me results that I want to get so I can get more results and like compound on that into the future. That was how I really came to this circular idea, this circular like journey of defining your personal style. And yes, I went through Pinterest, and yes, it did make me realize like we don't have a lot of off-duty women CEOs that I can model unless I go specifically and find them. And you have to dig. And that doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. If you don't see something, it means that you can actually be that something for someone else. And I think that's so powerful. I think that is so powerful knowing that you can inspire that. And you might be the person one day on Pinterest that people are looking up for outfit inspo. It made me realize that you have to intentionally build the style that you want to create. And you're also defining yourself because you're defining not only to the world around you, but you're also defining to yourself, like, yes, I put effort into this outfit. Yes, this is how I want to be seen. Yes, this is like you're showing up in the energy of fucking getting shit done. Let's just say that. Okay. And that's freedom. Okay. That is freedom when you can claim what you want and you can go after it. It's going to support your goals and it's going to help you manifest yourself into becoming the woman that you want to be. And isn't that just fucking freedom? Being who you want to be, full throttle. Okay, that's what I have for you today, my babes. I hope you're having an amazing day. I can't wait to chat next time. And I want to invite you to send me a message on Instagram. What are some ways that you are manifesting the identity of who it is that you want to become? That would be so fun to chat. All right. Love you. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.